Peter Charles here, Folks for Life Fly Fishing. And today we're going to tie the Claret Killer. Now I've already done this fly some years ago with a seal body. Today we're going to do it a little differently, so I wanted to keep it within the same series. This fly was done by Bill Baker of Newfoundland and it's quite well known. Now, in the recipe book, they don't give a size of hook, so I'm working with a size 2 just so it's nice and large for the camera, but I think if I was fishing it for Atlantics, I would do it in a smaller size. So let's get going and look at materials. Like I said, I'm using a size 2 salmon single. This one is mustad. As usual, I've got my Vivus 80 black thread. We're using a medium oval silver tinsel and rib. The body is going to be uni mohair. It's put out by Uni Thread or Uni Products, I should say. It's a very fluffy kind of wool. If you wanted to use regular wine or claret color wool, that would work too, but this is a little bit fluffier, closer to what the seal looks like. The wing is going to be gray squirrel, and we're going to be using black hackle for the collar. So let's get started. Bring the thread back to the hook, point, tie in the rib, and this is going to be both the rib and the tag. And the tag on this one has got a bit of size to it, so we're going to make it large. We'll get the thread out of the way. And try not to get any black showing. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe one more turn. There we go. So we're going to put 2 firm wraps in there. And then we're just going to move this back out of the way. Now we can tie in our mohair. Now if you find mohair a little too fluffy at the end, clip it off to give yourself a nice even tying in point. Just wind that back right to the tag. Now with this mohair, what you can do with it, if you're finding it's a little too fluffy because it has like a central core and then there's wool around it, what you can do is spin it to, I've got it in a bobbin holder, makes it easier to spin, so it controls it a little bit better. And then I will just back off the tension as I come off that bump. Give it an extra spin. And just bring it up on the return. There we go. Now you could put extra, if you wanted a thicker body, I'm going to go with a relatively thin body this time. If you want a thicker one, you can make multiple passes. Now any material like this, you're going to have hair coming off the front of it, which will get in the way when you're trying to finish the fly. So I fold that back. Okay, time to wind the rib. You can counterwind it if you want. Turn it the back and then just come forward. There we go. Okay, now to tie in the wing, we've stacked it and reef it down. You can see it's about the length of the hook gape. Well, I should say the length of the hook. Clean that up. Now for the hackle, you can see that I've repaired it by having only one side. This was pretty crappy hackle, to tell you the truth. So I've gone with one side because one side of it was good and one side of it wasn't. Things you have to do when your material is not the best. I think it's probably one of the advantages of the series I'm doing here with, I don't try to cherry pick stuff too much. I'm trying to reflect how the average fly tire is going to work. I mean, you go out to the store, you buy some hackle, you get it home, and you find some of it's okay and some of it's not so okay. And you make do with it. You have to use it. So that's what we're doing. This is not the best stuff, but we'll live with it. I keep pushing it back. You don't want to trap a barb if you can help it. This stuff is not laying so neatly, but we can manage. Should have seen what this looked like when I first pulled it out of the pack. This feather was not the best. Okay, there we go. Our hackle's on. Got a whip finish. You can dress this more heavily if you want. And in my previous version, I dressed it fairly heavily. This is a little lighter in how I've dressed it. So it gives you some options. If you look at my old video and you look at this one, you'll see this is a little lighter. And so you've got less of a hackle. It's kind of moved. Sometimes over hackling, you end up with just a blob of barbs that don't really move that well. So sometimes it's an advantage to leave it more spidery if you want more of a thinner approach. It's your choice how you want to do it. But I like to, just have some options. Don't automatically do it the way it's shown in the book. Give it some thought. Okay, there we have our Claret killer. As I say, this is a lighter dressing than the last one I did, and it uses mohair instead of seal, which is easier to use. It's quicker to use. You could use wine-colored wool if you wanted to. The point is you can knock off flies very quickly. So if you wanted to produce a batch of flies to go out fishing, I would say do this with wool, because it is an option in the pattern book to say that you can do it with wool or with seal. So there we go, the Claret killer done with mohair. Cheers.